summertime.
Sonic Mania. This game was developed by Christian Whitehead in cooperation with Headcanon, Pagoda West Games, and in cooperation with Sega. In this game, from everything I've read, like for the past year when it was announced late last year, the game is a sequel to Sonic 3 Knuckles or Sonic & Knuckles, whichever way you prefer. And like with Eggman, just tearing a hole basically in time and in the universe, being the reason and explaining why Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are going through classic zones from older games, being Sonic 1, 2, 3, 3 Knuckles, and Sonic CD. Oh, and Sonic and Knuckles.
Yes.
So, in this game, you're going through some levels from those old games, but there's also been some changes to them. Particularly with the Act 2s of them. I loved the changes that they made in the Act 2s. It felt like I was playing like mixtures of elements from different levels from the different games. And also I loved the new zones. There were, I think, some zones that are going to be seen as classic zones years down the line, the more Sonic games there is. If Sega's smart, I think they're going to make a sequel to this, hopefully. I enjoyed playing the hell out of this game. I miss playing it already and can't wait to play it on Summer of Sega. I tried my best to get 100% in it, and I did. Now, what did you think of the game, Jeff? Since you just beat it recently, too.
Well, I'm gonna add to what you were saying. As Brendan said, we have Christian Whitehead, Headcanon, and
Pagoda West Games.
Huh?
And Pagoda West Games.
And Pagoda West Games, which I found out recently that the guy who's involved, the main guy the only guy that's involved with Headcanon is who they call in the Sonic fan base community and the Sonic hacking community is
T-Lopes.
It's not T-Lope, no.
Oh.
Is Christian Whitehead's main partner in every Sonic remaster that's ever been released for iPhone, Android, Apple TV, Xbox 360, PS3, and
Steam.
Computer, and Steam. Simon Stealth Tomley.
Yeah.
And Christian Whitehead is also known as the Taxman. So you have the Taxman, and you have the Taxman and Stealth working on one of the greatest Sonic games to ever come out. And you also have Pagoda West Games. Pagoda West Games, two of the main members from Pagoda West Games worked on the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2 HD fan game for the computer.
I played it on my phone and I loved the hell out of it.
And also you have T-Lopes, who if you go on his YouTube page, T-Lopes,
he does remixes of music from Sonic games.
He does remixes of Sonic games. He did.
And they just hired him. They're like, hey, we'll have you make the music for this game because we like your work.
Someone actually pointed out though that they made a video of his original, because he also worked on the canceled Sonic the Hedgehog 3 HD remake, and he did music for Hydra City.
Oh man, I'd love to play a HD remake of Sonic 3. That'd be awesome.
And they compared his version of Hydra City from what he made for that game and how it sounded in Sonic Mania, and literally it sounds almost identical with a few things changed. Meaning that he knows what he's doing.
So
now
Jeff had the PS4 version
and the Switch version,
but he recently bought the Switch version because he was on a trip to Virginia and he wanted to continue playing it. Because you can't exactly lug a PS4 around, can you?
No.
The Switch, you can. That's why I bought it on the Switch.
Now, I'll give you a little backstory of the whole thing. Christian Whitehead and what's his name? Simon Tomley.
Simon Stealth Tomley.
Two of the best Sonic hackers out there, and Christian Whitehead just a little bit above Simon Tomley in his work, as he, like I said before, he's done the remasters for Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 on every console, every phone that you can get that's supported. He also worked on Simon Tomley, actually, and I found this out recently. Guess what game he worked on?
What?
Sonic Mega Mix.
What? That's awesome. I've played that game as much as I could before it crashed on me and then didn't save my file for whatever reason.
And I see why Sonic Mega Mix... I see why Sonic Mega Mix never went through with anything.
It was good, but they really should just...
because Sega hired him to work on the Sonic remastered and Sonic Mania.
Hopefully I can play a full version of it one day.
Also, Christian Whitehead also worked on...
Sonic Mega Mix, I mean.
Not Sonic Mega Mix.
No, I mean of that. Hopefully I can play a full version of that one day.
Oh, yeah. Christian Whitehead also worked on, if you guys ever played it, he worked on, Freedom Planet, which is basically like Sonic the Hedgehog mixed with Mega Man, and you see why Sonic the Hedgehog is so influenced, because Christian Whitehead is Sonic the Hedgehog. If that was a spirit animal, I think that Sonic the Hedgehog would be a spirit animal.
It's crazy how, like, a community of, like, hackers and modders are the guys that got hired on to make an actual official Sonic game. I still think that's amazing. Yeah. That's crazy. I played the Sonic CD version, like, with his engine on my phone that I got for free, and it is awesome. I really enjoyed playing it. And I enjoyed playing the engine he made for also using Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 on your phone, which is like, I think $1.99 per each of those two games.
Yeah.
But for Sonic CD, I got for free. Except on Steam, Sonic CD is the only way you'll pay for it. If you buy it on Steam, it's like $5. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, no tax, it's just like $4.99. But, yeah, I love how it's not like, oh no, it's a nostalgic cash grab. No, it's not. They make some things even different about the Act 1s of the old levels, so it's not like they're exactly the same. Like, there'll be some parts I'm playing a level, like Hydro City, and I'm like, oh, I remember this part, and then there'll be a part where like, is this new? I feel like this is new. Okay, this is new. This is really cool. I've seen this change here. So it's like, no, they also somewhat changed parts of the level. Like, in Hydro City, I noticed this especially when I last played the game, which was with Tails. That was the third character and last character I needed to beat it with. Tails is the only one that can fly. So I tried flying over the wall on the right when you start off Hydro City Zone, because I remember in Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 Knuckles you can do that.
So you
can't do that in this game.
I've done it.
I can't do it.
If you do it with Tails, you go up far enough and you also get the, you get the ring, then you get...
I couldn't do it, like, unless you go from all the way around the other side and then go back up that way. Like, I did that with Tails. I couldn't do that in this game, but in the original Sonic 3 I could. I'm like, oh, that's new in this area when you go over the wall or, like, on the other side to get to it. I'm like, looks like it's a bit different. I like this. And I think one of my most favorite zones that they brought back ever from Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 Knuckles, definitely Flying Battery Zone. I loved what they did with it. I always loved that zone, and the music is always playing in my head from childhood. Like, I love that stage that much. And also, Lava Reef Zone was another favorite of mine. I loved that.
That was actually pretty surprising when I saw that in there. I was like...
Lava Reef. Oh my god, it's one of my favorites.
Some people were saying, though, that,
and Hydro City, of course, is another favorite. None of
the levels are bad in any way, but the level choices that they put in the game were a little weird, in the sense that...
They work, though.
They work, but it's like... Why, like, who would, like, if you were picking us out, like, a fan-made game like this, or just an anniversary game like this is also, and you're saying, okay, we put Green Hill Zone, of course, and we put Chemical Plant Zone, of course.
They have to put Green Hill Zone.
Yeah. But then, like, people were saying, like, Lava Reef Zone, that was unexpected, and also Oil Ocean was unexpected. Like, that's one of those levels that are not memorable in the Sonic 2 games. Or the Sonic 3 games.
They're memorable, but nowhere near as memorable as other levels.
Exactly, but they're saying...
Chemical Plant Zone, like, you have to put Chemical Plant Zone, and people are going to be asking, like, why isn't this in a game? Like, no, that's a good thing they put that in there. And
I was thinking,
I loved Chemical Plant Zone.
They could have put, Aqua Ruin Zone, I think would have been a good stage to put in there. Now, I want to give a little backstory onto this for this game.
You know what kind of surprises me is they didn't put Emerald Hill Zone, but probably because they already put Green Hill Zone in there.
That's like saying,
they're pretty similar.
Yeah, that's like saying, okay, we have Green Hill Zone, now we're going to put an Emerald Hill Zone, we're going to put Angel Island
Zone. Yeah,
even though Angel Island's in there and you start off of it.
Yeah, you start off with Angel Island Zone, and then it's like, okay, now you're not in there.
Where is that actually anyway? Is that like in Mobius, or is that just another part of a fucking thing?
What?
Angel Island. Because you have Little Planet from Sonic CD, you have Mobius, and you have Angel Island, like, they're like separate things, but in the same
That is a good question.
world. I know it's in the same world, but I mean, like...
But, Anyway, what did you love about the game? What was your favorite zones? Tell me what you think of the game.
I want to give a little bit more backstory, and I'll tell you guys what I thought, because this goes into what I actually think, and I've seen it in the game also. So you have, like I said, Christian Whitehead, Simon Tomley, and you have two guys from Pagoda West who worked on the game. Now they all came together. Well, Christian Whitehead actually came first and went up to Sega, and the main guy, I forget his name though, but some Japanese guy.
Yuji Naka?
Not Uji Naka, it was some other guy. It was in charge of Sega.
Oh, Sonic. Just in general.
Yeah, the guy who was in charge of Sonic Team, whatever, in Japan, or whatnot. Anyway, he came up with this game. It's a very, very basic prototype. It had Green Hill Zone, and it had Studiopolis in it, and he presented it to Sega, and said, here's my new game, I want to see if I can try it out, and see where it goes. And in prototype, he named it
Sonic Discovery.
Sonic Discovery, yes. Now, after looking through everything and seeing what the game potential was, Sega decided to say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the name, and it's going to be called Sonic Mania. It's for the Mania, by the Mania, meaning it's, and I say this not loosely at all either, it's for fans, by the fans.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a game for fans,
literally,
by fans.
And the things that they do in this game surprised the fuck out of me. Like, I'm not saying, like I've seen, like, gameplay of Chemical Plant Zone when they released it, and then I've seen Green Hill Zone, I'm like, oh, this is cool, this is nice, but then it's, put it this way, if you haven't bought the game yet, and you're watching us play it, or you're watching other people play it, there's nothing like playing the actual game itself. Like, you see things
unless you've actually played it, you have no idea how fantastic
you're gonna be like, okay, this looks fucking awesome, but then when you play it, you're like, what the fuck happened here? Like, you're like, the level of excitement went from fucking 2 to fucking 100.
It did. Like, this is a game where people are like, oh, always like, don't believe the hype. And this game is like, no, the hype actually was real this time.
And there are people
lived up to the hype for this.
There are people that actually played this game and were like, yeah, Sonic games are great, but, Sonic went stale because of the 3D games and nothing can go back to the classics. Like, you can remake the classics all you want, but it's not the same. But every single person, I'm telling, I've looked up everything, like, every single review, every single article, every single thing, everyone has ever said now, post-game and after the game and before the game, when people got the review units, and when people got to play, and when people got to play the games at Expos and E3, they were like, this is Sonic 4, the Sonic 4 that we should have got, and this is
what Sonic 4 should have been.
This is what Sonic 4 should have been, but it's one of the best well-developed Sonic games in a long time. And I'm not talking about, like, people said, well, we had Sonic Generation and then we had Sonic Colors. Like, no, those games were like, it's returning to its roots, but it's like a turn to form back to the
Sonic
Colors though was not to its roots though. It was
Sonic Generations I'm talking more about.
Yes.
Like, that game was like, oh, Classic Sonic's back. It's like, no, this is really when Classic Sonic's back. This is Sonic going strong.
And it's not like some people like, oh, well, we have Sonic Mania and we have Sonic Forces. So there's too much Classic Sonic going around, and when you actually play the game, it's like, no, this literally feels exactly like the same progression as it should have been. If Sonic 3 and Knuckles got, because Christian Whitehead actually went up to them and was like, here's Sonic Discovery. Now, this game, what would happen if, like, we took Sonic 3 and Knuckles and we made a sequel for it, but for the Saturn? And, of course, the Saturn never picked up really well, so there was no way they could make a classic Sonic game. And they were also working on Sonic Extreme and another Sonic game, which never worked out to begin with.
Yeah, they got canceled.
That both got canceled because
I've done my research.
It went in a weird direction with it, and the beta footage of it looked so fucking weird. But
it was a big mess.
Yes, but they were like, well, how about we go back and see what we can do with the Sega Saturn? Like, what would happen if we put a game on Sega Saturn with Classic Sonic, and we got Sonic Mania. Now, some of the things that I really enjoyed, and I literally, like, it's not even like the gameplay mechanics per se of like, oh, well, you have Chemical Plant Zone now, you can you can now you have the poisonous water. Now you can inject it with some gel or some kind of chemical, whatever. And now the gel, even now the water turns into a blue,
like just
blue,
jelly,
or turn into a
thing.
Yeah, or to a jelly green substance, and then makes you jump higher.
I love
or
that.
They have like jumping like platforms on the side where it's not Sonic trying to be like, oh well, I'm Modern Sonic, so I can I can hop across wall. No, it's like you jump on a wall, you stick to it, and you only stick to it when you need to, and you can stay there for as long as you need to.
And anytime you jump is how you get off. It's really cool.
Yeah, but I think Chemical Plant Zone, the boss in that level, literally has to be the best boss I've ever seen, ever. And I'm not talking about like, oh well, like in terms of, because every Sonic game has, and I mean every Sonic game, no matter which modern Sonic or classic Sonic, whatever you're playing, it's all the same thing where it's like, oh, Eggman has this 7 cast emerald, you have to go defeat him, and it's just him and his Egg Robo, and you have to defeat him some way or another. But no, like
Egg Robo is the robot that kind of looks like him.
Yeah, but
that's who you're thinking of.
The Hoverbot, like whatever they want to call it.
The Egg Hover.
The Egg Hover, whatever it's called. But in Sonic Mania, they really like bring it like to a Sonic 3 type of level where each zone has its own boss, meaning each act has its own boss, so you're getting a mini boss, and then you're getting a final boss at each act of the zone.
I thought that was a really smart way that they made the levels.
But
it's like how Sonic 3 was.
I'm not saying this game is boring, or I'm not saying this game is bad in any way. What I think that they could improve on is the way that
they transition.
The way they transition, right? or the way the bosses, like, the bosses are not like all the same style as like Sonic 3, meaning like, but like you get like every Act 1 has a mini boss in it, but it's not like, okay, so you play Green Hill Zone, you get a mini boss, and you get a real mini boss, but then like you go to
Act 2,
then you go to like Hydra City, and now instead of having a mini boss per se, you're actually fighting Eggman. But at the mini boss at the same time, it's like...
I thought that was really cool how they did that with Act 1 in Hydra City.
Yes.
It's like you're Robotnik fighting Sonic, pretty much. It's like, yay, it's like the tables have turned. It was really cool how they did that. It was like that same fight from Act 2 of Hydra City in Sonic 3.
There are only 2 bosses that were my favorite in the entire game.
I love that all the bosses were also not even rehashed from the original levels they were in. I like that they were all different bosses, except kind of, it's up to your interpretation. The boss from the end of Sonic 1 was pretty much the fight in Act 1 of Metallic Madness, but it's different enough to kind of be its own thing. Like,
yeah.
It's a bit different, but it's also at the same time really similar.
Because I thought...
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Cause,
it was similar, but different at the same time.
Because basically, if you don't know Sonic 1, I'll give you a little run through. If you in Scrap Brain Zone at the very end, all you do is use this...
Well, it's Final Zone.
The Final Zone.
Yeah.
But this...
Scrapping's before.
Yeah, but... it's in the same thing, but
yeah,
you basically get 4 columns. Well, so 1, 2. Yeah, there's 4 columns,
like
and
5. I think
Eggman's in each one of them. He transfers through each one of them, and basically you have to they crunch it. They fall into each other, and you have to get Eggman. You have to attack the one that Eggman's in and not get crushed at the same time. But in Sonic Mania, the same thing happens. But once you think you're done, Eggman comes up and is like, nope, I'm making this faster, harder,
I love that,
and he's going boom, 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 like, it's ridiculous.
So it had its own spin on the actual end bosses on one. I think it was like 5 columns, but yeah. And it was in a W formation, kind of, if you notice closely, with the placement of the columns.
Yes.
Like, it kind of was like, spelled like W. Mm-hmm. But one thing I also really loved of this game, and there wasn't a single stage where I didn't enjoy it and find myself humming the music or like having it play in my head as I'm playing the game. Is the music.
That's okay.
The music was perfect. I love
everyone that's ever reviewed this game was like, if there's one thing about this game, and they were like, the levels are great, but everyone and I'm telling you this, like, everyone has mentioned the music in this game.
Music is so on point.
There's nothing wrong with the music. I'm saying that, but other people, if you look online and reviews, everyone has said that the music, there's nothing wrong with the music. It's like, you just took Sonic and put him into a fucking
I even loved, like, the remixed versions of the music from, like, say, Green Hill Zone or Flying Battery, where it sounds even better than how it sounded in those games.
Well, those are remixed also.
Like,
every classic stage is
remixed versions.
Well, every classic stage is remixed in the music style. But Act 1 has the original, like slightly remixed versions, and then Act 2 has a totally different remixed version of each of their stages.
That's what I mean is, like, the remixed Act 1 ones, like for Green Hill Zone or Flying Battery, where it's like, I remember this music, but it sounds better now.
Yeah. Also, one of the...
Good job, T-Lopes, on the... Good job.
One of the best things that I've loved about this game, and like I said, the gimmicks are amazing, the characters, they're there because it's Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, like, they're original, and that can get a little boring at the same time if you play classic Sonic because you think that they should add more characters, which they could have, but it's literally a progression between Sonic 3 and Knuckles into Sonic Mania. But the best thing and they said that I've watched a video on Kind of Funny Games with Lola, I forget her last name though, Lola something, but she was the what's it called, the senior producer or something that had to do with, she was like one of the PR guys besides Aaron Weber, who helped promote the game and let people play it on their YouTube channels and let people test out prototypes and whatnot. She literally said though, like one of the guys who worked for Kind of Funny Games on YouTube, he was like, he asked the question of how much stuff are we getting in this game toward, like, Sonic, what's it called? References, how many references are we gonna get? Like, how much references are we gonna get? Are we gonna get, like, more Sonic references? Are we gonna get more Sega references? Are we gonna get, like, the Sega Sonic references where they're both together? What are we gonna get here? And she was like, we're putting as much as we can to this game, and that was almost like a half a year ago when that big video came out, and half a year later, they put so many, and I mean so many references to the Genesis, to Sega.
You know what I really thought was funny? What you were probably about to say. I couldn't find it in Studiopolis, but if you go to... People did say it actually does say it, if you look closely. Like, it does say Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
It doesn't say Nintendo, though, because...
Oh, that's what people were saying, that it says Genesis does what Nintendo. I haven't seen it, so I can't confirm or deny
it. No, but, like...
I think that's funny.
But, like what Brandon was saying, in Studiopolis Act 2, there are these, like, little tiles that you could jump up on, like, the little balls, and you could jump up and hit these tiles, and then they'll spin around. And there's 2 parts in the game, probably another one, but I haven't seen it yet, because this game is so fucking large in their levels. Like, you could play it for, like, if you play Sonic 1, or Sonic 2, or Sonic 3, like, Sonic 3 probably is a better example, though. Like,
it has, like, a bunch of sections in one level.
Yeah, but Sonic 3 only had, like, 2 sections, really, for each level, and then Sonic CD brought that up to, like, 3 sections, because it was a big stage. But in all those classic games, you were able to beat it in, like, between anywhere between 1 minute to 4 minutes at most. In Sonic Mania, like, literally, you're playing this level, you're playing the game, you're like, where the fuck am I going? Like, it's not even like you're going the wrong way, you're literally going the right way, but it takes so long to get there. Like, some level can take up to 7 minutes to beat.
Yeah.
But...
Like, Metallic Madness could take a while to beat.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, at least, because it's towards the end of the game.
But, what I was gonna say, though, was,
I really like the special stages, also. I like that Blue Sphere was brought back, and they made original levels for them, because that was my favorite of the special stages from the Genesis Sonic games, because I was so good at them, and I always just thought they were so fun playing them. So... Hey, people, expect me to probably be playing those mostly on the series that we start.
I can't beat them. They're a lot harder than the originals.
Because I have more experience, since I've been playing this for years, of replaying those games. I'm telling you, opening up that special, like, the collector's edition, opening that thing up on the day that the game came out when I got home from work, it felt like I was a little kid all over again on Christmas, opening up my favorite presents. Like, oh boy, what did I get? Like, that's exactly how I felt opening this box up. Like, yeah, oh my god. I feel like a kid again playing this game. Like, a little kid playing Sonic with my brothers again, because we used to play this shit all the time together. This is how I feel. Like, see, that was really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get one of the randomly signed versions, but hey, I don't care. I got something really cool.
I know, this box is like when they said in the live stream that they took no expense to pay for the high quality materials for all their items. I see where it goes now, and I mean, I could justify. I really like the price of this. That this whole thing right here was only $60, and the game itself digitally is only $20. But
it makes sense because of the material they use and all the cool stuff.
Yeah, but I was thinking more or less in the line like, where the hell? Like, if the game's $20, then what the hell are they spending it on? And I'm like,
all this stuff,
and you get. Well, you don't have all the red stuff. Oh, you get.
Yeah, I do. It's just that the Sonic thing's not in there, which is why it looks weird.
Yeah, I'll take the plastic out.
I taped the digital download code because I couldn't keep it staying in there without falling out anymore.
I took that out. I threw that. That's not a collectible. I threw that out.
I don't care. I'm keeping all this.
But originally, when they made this, they were supposed to get the download code on this metallic
card.
But apparently they said because of licensing, and there was some reason why they couldn't do it. It doesn't make any sense though. But hey. At least we got the metallic card still. We got the metallic card, and then also...
You want me to hold Sonic?
I got it. We also get this gem.
So all of a sudden, this kind of just turned into an unboxing video.
Yeah,
but yeah, I really enjoyed playing this game. I think it was well made.
When I want to go back to, as I'm saying this, Brandon can show this.
It's like an actual Genesis cartridge,
and you coming out,
pull out the pegs, and there's a ring which you can remove.
They were making jokes about it on the Sonic the Hedgehog page, like.
I'm sure they were, because they always make fun of themselves.
They were like what the hell? Like everyone like, what the hell is the ring for? It's like, well, you know, you can give it to your girlfriend and ask her to marry you.
I was actually thinking about doing that if I ever get married. Just give her that ring and be like, "Will you marry me?" And I give her that ring. It kind of looks like it's real gold, except it's not real gold. Otherwise, this would probably be a few $100s.
Yep. So, what I want to go back to and saying though is the references that they put in this game. Like the biggest reference that I've seen in this whole hold on a second.
Yeah, you got it.
The biggest reference that I've seen in this whole entire game that literally no one expect coming, and no one thought of it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna have like references here and there in stages where it's gonna be like Genesis does, Nintendo don't." Or in Studio Aqua's Act 2, you also can see if you bounce off the tiles, you also see the lock on, which is a reference to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which you lock on Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles together, and you get Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And also, one of the best references, and I literally freaked out when I saw it. I was not expecting it. No one was expecting it. And I was explaining to you trying to explain this to you before, that like every boss in the game is like either a mini boss, or you get a full Eggman boss, or you get that one time you get a mini Eggman boss. But it's like, okay, Eggman's in the egg hover.
Yeah.
Or the egg. Actually, that's what it's called. The egg carrier. That's what it's called.
The egg carrier is that gigantic freaking thing in Sonic Adventure. That ship that he made. That's what the egg carrier is.
Okay, then the egg hover, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but I heard him say it when I used to watch Sonic X. Yes, I used to watch that. People laugh at me.
Ha 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 ha! I don't care, because the Meteoric Saga was the only thing I was bad about that series. Anyway, speaking of references and everything, like the bosses are just Eggman in a bigger machine connected to the egg hover, and you know, it's like everything that classic Sonic could be in a boss fight. But the one thing that changed, and the most unconventional boss fight I've ever fought in a classic Sonic game, but it worked out so well and it was so perfect, was Chemical Plant Act 2, where you fight Eggman playing Dr. Robot and Mean Machine.
I love that fight, and it's also cool that you can play that freely when you unlock it by beating enough special stages with the gold or silver medal. But it's really cool that you can do that.
It's like, oh, you're expecting a classic Eggman fight, and then all of a sudden, you just drop down into a fucking trap, and you're fighting Eggman and Dr. Robot and Mean Machine.
I thought that was really cool.
I didn't think that they were going to put that in there, because it's like, oh, now they have Puyo Puyo, so, you know, they could sell that, and, you know, Puyo Puyo was originally Sega's property anyway. They just decided over to the West, like, to market it better, we're gonna put Eggman on it and make it an Eggman spin-off game. But it's a Sonic reference, and they put it in there. It's like one of the best things I've ever seen. I'm like, holy fuck! How did they do this? Like,
you know what thing? That's the last thing before we end it. We should talk about Mirage Saloon.
Okay.
Which is a scrapped level from Sonic 2.
What I loved about this, and this is also the thing that I have a little bit more insight on than Brandon, but well, first off, in Sonic 2, they were originally planning to do 2 levels. One was supposed to be a winter type level, and which had no screenshots for, but then they also tried to do a desert level, and was originally called Dust Hill. And if you actually play Mirage Saloon, and before the very end of Act 1, before you go down into the mini boss section, is it Act 1? No, Act 2. Before you go down into the actual boss to fight the Heavy Magician, which is the boss of that stage, you will see on the wall, you'll see these like little glass bottles, and they all say on there SH2.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
Meaning that this was originally the idea that came from it was from Dust Hill Zone, but also if you played or know anything about Christian Whitehead's Sonic CD version of the game, he also tried to bring that back also in that game, which Sega said no, we just want this game to be original as possible. Meaning you can add anything that you want into the game from any version of the game. Meaning, like Christian Whitehead was able to add Tails as an extra character, and then he was able to add the Japanese and American music because they both had different soundtracks, and he was also able to add a couple like little things here and there for the game. But as far as like actual gameplay goes, Sega was like, nope, we just want it to be original gameplay, just update it as much as you can, but just keep it all original, meaning no extra stages, no extra bosses, no extra like special stages or anything like that you want to try out, none of that stuff. So he made a version of Dust Hill Zone, Desert Dazzle, and if you actually use one of if you unlock DA Garden, you'll be able to put in a code for it, and you'll be able to also see the other level that was scrapped called Final Fever, which was supposed to be the very final boss for Eggman after you get all the time stones. Like, but you don't transform into Supersonic or anything, because that game never had it, but you get all the time.
The game didn't have the Chaos Emeralds.
Yes, so they had time stones, but if you get all the time stones, you'll be able to unlock this extra level. But of course, like I said, no. So, third time the charm, and Christian Whitehead was finally able to make his own game. So, he came up with Mirage Saloon, which is the combination of both
Desert Dazzle
new concepts, Desert Dazzle and Dust Hill Zone, and together they create, I honestly think, one of the best levels in the game. As far as it feels, it's not like Studiopolis, but it feels just like Sonic 2. It feels like Sonic CD, and it feels like them two combining to just.
I can definitely see any of the new zones in this game years from now being referred to as classic stages, and I can see Sonic Mania down the line years from now being referred to as a classic Sonic game. Now, it is a classic Sonic game, but in HD and in a modern era, and I can't stress enough how much I love this game.
I know.
Like, it's just so good.
Now, there's a few things that people were bummed about this game.
They easily could have just made it a greedy, desperate cash grab, but I like that they didn't go that route.
No, they
knew what they were doing.
Even Aaron Webber, as I saw the official release live stream the day it came out, because I had nothing to do, because it wasn't even Sega's fault on this part. I found out later it was literally Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo that they literally had a time cap on their live codes going live, so no one was able to use the code until it went live on their servers.
I was at work that day, so by the time I got home and I got my package, I was able to do it.
But I was able to watch.
But Jeff had problems for a while doing it.
I was actually able to watch the live stream, and Aaron Webber literally stated that they had a bunch of different people come up from the actual development team as guest stars on the live stream, and talking about what their favorite stages were, any questions that people had, this and that. And he literally said that this is the definitive version of what Classic Sonic's going to be. And this literally was the love letter to every Sonic fan out there.
Even if you don't like the classic games and you're more of the modern or 3D games, give this game a try, please.
Seriously.
And Christian Whitehead, if for whatever reason you see this video, message us on Twitter. We can give you some more ideas of what you can do with this game.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I have
DLC zones for other scrap levels. That would be awesome. DLC.
That's also another thing too that people are wondering about.
I really think they should do that. That'd be smart.
They should, but they also confirm though that they're not. There's no DLC planned for the game at this time.
They should though, and then if they do, like Meiji Zone, like
I actually had an idea.
Make Zone like maybe $1 or $5.
I actually had an idea though where they could expand on it, where Eggman.
I just love potential ideas for this
now,
game.
Sega, if you're watching this, just hear me out. You can contact me if you feel the need to. But I actually have a good idea that I've been thinking about for an actual good classic Sonic game, or the sequel to Sonic Mania. Instead of, like, you can go back and say, oh, there's the, what do you call it, about the Angel Island, and you find out that, that you had the Phantom Ruby, which is the ruby that they picked up in the beginning of Sonic Mania.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go back there and find out that the Phantom Ruby, opened up a warp in time, and everyone got transferred into what they call the Phantom Zone. And just like Hidden Palace Zone, instead of having seven Super Emerald, you now have 7 Phantom Rubies and 1 Master Ruby. And the whole idea I was thinking of is like, instead of just having one Phantom Ruby and powering 7 different bosses of what you guys called the hard-boiled heavies, which is Eggman's new entourage of super evil villains. Yeah. Instead of just powering up one by one, you go through the same game. You go get the big ring. You get the bonus stage. Go to the star post. You get the bonus stage, and then after each boss, you're also collecting Chaos Emeralds. But after you beat each hard-boiled heavy or whatever you want to give, because each boss will have their own version of the Phantom Ruby now. It'll just be like the end of the game with Sonic, what do you call it? What they call the Phantom King, which is the very final boss you have to fight if you beat the game as Sonic and get Super Sonic. Instead, like, every boss will be like that, since they will also have their own Phantom Ruby, but you get to collect them at the end, and then you can possibly, if you want to call it, I don't know how you work it out, but if you want to call it, you can have Sonic transform to Phantom Sonic.
I actually think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you'll be able to go and, or I was thinking instead of like having you can have your own Phantom Zone, like I said, but instead of having like, it would be like Hidden Palace Zone, but in a Phantom world, like the same world that you fight the Heavy King in, or the Phantom King, as you want to call it.
So, lastly, before we end this, because we do want to record videos of us actually playing this game, tell me what you thought of the special stages, the actual ones that you have to do to get Chaos Emeralds, that are styled like Sonic City.
I'll tell you this right now. I beat the entire game, could not get a lot of the Chaos Emeralds, because the stages are pretty difficult in the sense that...
I sucked at them at first, and then after a while of trying them, I got better, so... Yeah, it's just... For us, I'm going to be the one playing the special stages, then.
It's more or less, like, all you do is it's like Sonic CD, except for trying to, like, catch all the UFOs, you're literally running and catching blue spheres, and running in a straight, like, track thing, and racing after a UFO that's holding the Chaos Emerald. And
if you run out of rings, that's when the level ends. Out. So instead of there being a timer, it's with rings. If you run out of rings, then that's when you lose. So I will be the one playing those, since I'm really good at them and got all the emeralds as all 3 characters.
Now, once we do 100%. This, we're gonna do it a little bit different. We're gonna have we're gonna play through the game as Sonic, and we're gonna explain this again when we actually record for the video. But we're gonna play as Sonic and Tails, and every time a Knuckles version of the stage comes around, we're gonna shrink it, and we're gonna have we're gonna shrink the Sonic and
Tails,
split it off into equal parts, and we're gonna show Sonic and Tails and Knuckles version also, but keep the commentary for the Sonic and Tails stages,
and not for Knuckles.
Not for Knuckles.
So, lastly, what are your final thoughts?
If I can sum this up in one word, buy this game.
Also,
that's all I can say. Buy it.
And we're not sponsored by Christian Whitehead, by the way, or Sega. But also, this is one other thing I want to say. Not that I'm trying to start anything, because I do like a lot of the games they make, but there's a certain company that really could take a page out of Sega's book for this one. That's all I'm going to say. Take a page out of Sega's book and try and see what they do to make it work for you guys instead of being dicks to people. That's all I'm saying. With that note,
thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Click the annotations that are on screen. And as always, welcome to the second game of Summer of Sega.
Yeah.
The second video of Summer of Sega. And we'll be doing this all summer long, so...
Let us know what you think of this game. We're playing until the actual start of fall, which is September 21st.
Yep.
So we'll let us know what you think of this game in the comments.
Alright, so we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.